Hey everybody, it's the Naturator here, back again with another video. Sorry it's been so long. This is Building a Lego Barn Part 2, where we will be going over the build process for how to build a Lego barn. Let's get into it. Alright, so let's get into these packages. So we've got 5 packages here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Bricklink orders, and then we have an order from Lego.com's Bricks and Pieces. Alright, so I went ahead and opened all of those packages. So these are from Bricklink as well as Lego.com, and we've got a lot of dark red, a lot of black, some white, and some light gray, which is mostly for the structure. So that is what we are going to be building with. I think those are all of the colors, so we're going to go ahead and get started building with all of these bricks. So the first step for building the barn, I went ahead and built this frame. Now this framework, you can see, uses a lot of the snot bricks, the bricks with a stud on the side, and it has those all around the framework. And what we're going to do is old-fashioned barn raising here. So we've got our wall, and this wall is built on its side. So we're going to do a barn raising and stick the front wall, clip it into the studs there on the front. And now it's good to go. So that's our first step. We're going to go ahead and do the same with the sides. If you remember from part 1 of building a Lego barn, the sides, they were just plain, just straight up plain, similar type construction to the front here, where the back looks, you know, just plates on the back. So the sides are going to be the same sort of thing, but I think I'm going to add some windows as well. So that'll be my next step, is adding those walls just the same way I added this front, and then we'll clip it together again at the top a little more so it's not just that one stud that it's slotted into. Alright, I've now added all of the walls, so if we spin this around here, we'll see that we have the side walls, and I added these windows here that were not in the original model that I designed in the computer Bricklink Studio program, but I think these are kind of some typical things you see in barns, with like the horse sticking his head out. Of course I'll be able to pose that a little better, but you get the idea. That's kind of what I'm going for there. Take a look on the inside. You can see kind of the frame I've got going on there, and I've got it attaching with bricks on the side all the way up, just so that there is a little bit of structure for these walls. And the next step then will be putting the roof on. Alright, so now I have built the roof of the barn up. You can see here, so the way that the roof works is, we'll take a peek at its underside. The roof is put together with some Technic pieces that make the hinge, so it makes for a stronger hinge, and then there also is the bar and clip pieces that help keep its shape. But the big thing is the Technic elements that keep the most of the shape. And we are going to, of course, add some roof elements. So I made these. These kind of evolved from this, which is what we had initially, a smaller piece. I think this bigger piece gives it a cleaner look. So we'll go ahead and put those on there, on the roof. Put one in the front and one in the back. And then we're going to go ahead and see what that looks like on the barn. So we've got the barn walls all finished up, and we put the roof on. Let's see. There we go. There it is. So it's looking pretty close to done. The next step is to build the Technic frame inside that will actually hold the roof on, so it's not just sitting there. Alright, so the barn is now complete. I've finished the inside Technic frame. I'll go ahead and give you a little look to see what's going on inside there. So the roof is attached firmly now, but it's something that I can take off. It's kind of like the modular style where it's got some studs, but it still can come off relatively easy. And then we'll go ahead and take a look at the structure in here. So for this particular barn, I just want it to be a display where the outside is kind of the focus rather than the interior. You could go ahead and make this interior support more decorative and make it look like wood beams or different things. But I went ahead and just did some pretty simple pillars in the middle and then on the sides, and then it just slots in on both sides underneath and is a pretty firm hold, so it's not going to fall apart on me if I try to move it. I'll go ahead and put it back on and we can see that. So pretty easy to put back on. Slot in place. There it is. So I think it's fun to see how far this build has come. We can see here was kind of my initial design, and I improved upon that design to get to this style of build, which I thought was pretty good, and you know, that's what it eventually ended up being. And then I took that, worked on a digital design, and eventually ended up with this. So it's kind of fun to see those three builds and see kind of the progression of the barn, where it started and then where it ended up. So this is part 2 of building a Lego barn. For part 3, I will be adding a few things, mostly scenery around the barn, some animals, farmer, maybe a pickup truck, some different things like that. I may make a few small changes to the barn, but I really like where it's at. My favorite part about the barn, I think, is the paneling, the way that the tiles work for the paneling on the barn. I think that turned out really nicely. So again, stay tuned for part 3, where I do a full showcase of the barn with some added scenery. Thanks for watching.